Hello and welcome to North Country Ham. My name is Aaron, KD2RSS. Today's video I'm going to do a continuation off from one of my previous videos, which I'll share the link to, the fox hunt transmitter. So today I'm going to show you the tape measure Yagi that seems to be one of the more common handheld antennas for the direction finding. So stay tuned. Alright, well, welcome. Thanks for sticking around. If you like the videos, like what I'm doing, hit the subscribe, like the video. It helps with everything, so appreciate it. How many of us in the ham hobby, whether you did fox hunts or not, have seen something like this? Yeah, the tape measure Yagi. Yeah, over here. Point that way. There we go. Nothing more than using a 1-inch wide tape measure with cut to certain specific lengths, 3/4 inch PVC, some cross tees, some standard tees, and hose clamps, and a little bit of coax, and you're ready to hook it up to your radio to try to pick up that fox hunt transmitter. So let's go through the list of everything, and I'll show you what we've got. And all right, well, this is a little bit of everything I've got. As you can see on here, I've printed this out. This is from something I found, one of the more simple to-dos from KB9 VBR antennas. 2-meter tape measure Yagi beam antenna. I'll show you this. This is the parts list. So what it says, you got a 25-foot 1-inch wide steel tape measure, which I've got an old one here that's at about 20 inches or so, is broken up a little bit. So I'm going to use that to clean it up. 10-foot length of 3/4 inch Schedule 40 PVC, 2 of the 3/4 inch PVC cross connectors, which are these here, little 4-way T, 2 of the 3/4 inch PVC T connectors, 6 of the 3/4 inch to 1.5 inch stainless steel hose clamps, which I just picked up a bag of 10. You're going to need length of either RG8, RG58 coax with either, whatever type of connector you want on it to connect to your radio. Obviously some solder and flux to put it together, and some electrical tape. And you'll need about 5 inches of 14 gauge wire, which I don't have that cut here with all the pieces parts, but it's pretty much that simple. So I've cut some of these to length already. This here is a electrical conduit box that I got that's just in and out one side, and I picked up an attenuator kit from a website, and I'll share that website where I got it from. You can get it pre-assembled or the kit that you can assemble yourself, and I picked up one of each, but I mounted it in the lid of this box. So the attenuator basically will sweep your signal 4 kilohertz one way or the other, and I'm going to use this in conjunction with part of my tape measure Yagi. So that's why I've got this elbow and what I figured, cap with a hole so the coax can go through. Essentially make a small little handle like this that I'm just going to press the stuff together. You can glue it, not glue it, it's up to you. But there we go. So doing that, I now have a way of so now I can kind of hold on to it to sweep the antenna one way or the other. Kick it on. So should be able to hold the battery and everything right inside that box. So I'll go back to the overhead. So we'll set this over to the side since I'm not going to be doing that right now. What it says is for your first step, you want to cut a length of PVC at 11¼ inches, which is what I did here on this piece. Now, I use the pliers for cutting PVC. Makes a nice smooth cut, so much easier to do. So let's add one piece at 11¼ I got one piece here cut to 6 7/8 inches long. So those will make up the main support for the boom on the antenna. The third piece, you make any length you want. I may not need to make it too much longer because I've already got the other assembly, and so we'll go from there to figure that out. So you can, like I said, you can either dry fit all these pieces so you can take it all apart anytime, or you can actually use some of your PVC glue and cement them together. So your distance between the first cross and the middle cross has to be 8 inches, and the distance between the middle cross and the T should be 12½ inches. This is measured from center of the connectors. So take the one piece, put a T on it, just like so, and then use a cross connector T. Obviously you'll tweak them so they all kind of set. So that way I've got that first bit of section. Now what it says, that should be 12½ inches from center to T. And that's what I've got. You can see that. From center to center should be 12½. And that's what we've got right there. And then we put our next piece here. We will put this one together here. And on this section should be 8 inches center to center. There we go. Just a hair. And it might be better now. There we go. 8 inches center to center. And there's our main boom. Picked all this up at Lowe's, obviously. T connectors are between 80 cents and $1 a piece right now. The cross connector like this is a little over $3 a piece. You get a 10-foot length of Schedule 40 is probably right around $3 to $4 for that length. And your hose clamps, I think that bag of 10 I paid like $12 for. So we've got those set. Our next bit would be to cut the pieces of the tape. I got some snips here. Well, these are those pliers I was talking about for cutting the PVC. Works really nice. I plan on snipping the tape so I need to cut one piece 41 3/8. So gotta do a little math because I just cut it at the 25-inch mark. 66 inches. So if I cut it 66 and 3/8, should be 41 and 3/8. So there's my one piece cut, 41. Now what I'll probably do after I cut these is snip just a little bit on the edges just to round them, so that way they're not sharp. And I'll need two pieces that are 17 and 3/4. So this first piece that I snipped off, I'm gonna snip this one right off at the 2-inch mark. So there's 17 and 3/4. And I'll need two of those. I know. So now I've got two pieces, 17 and 3/4, which these will end up being the driven element. The 41 and 3/8 probably end up being your reflector, and then the shorter piece here, the 35 and an 1/8. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. There we go. Now we've got, it's that simple. Cutting the lengths of the tape. So I've got one piece, this one here, cut to 41 and 3/8. This piece here cut to 35 and an 1/8. And two pieces cut to 17 and 3/4. Okay, so now that I've got that kind of set, we'll set these over here out of the way. I'm going to take there's 6. All right, so we got all of our hose clamps here. No, I haven't done this yet. It says to sand away the paint on the back side to help with soldering, so I'll do that at a later point here. Alright, and through the magic of television, not only did I get my ears lowered, you'll also see that I have got the tape measure ends here sanded off and already tinned to try to help with the soldering on there. I've also went ahead on the hairpin. I've got that tinned, and the coax, I've got that tinned. Now I've also, and you'll see, get about 8 turns, and I've run it through the PVC for my coax for the antenna. You can see where I went in and brought it out through the Y, or one of the cross T's, and I did 8 wraps and back in, and I've got it fed through. Now you could make any length here to just a straight handle, or on the plans there's a second T that you can put there for holding on to it. That's up to you. Myself, I got a conduit electrical box for the 3/4 inch pipe, and I've got an attenuator mounted inside with a power switch. Now I don't have it battery in here powered up, but essentially what I've got inside here is the coax runs into this. You separate it just like you do here. The center center wire goes to one pin, the braid goes to the other on one side, and then you've got another piece of coax that runs from the attenuator to the radio, and the same thing, you split it. Now I've already got, as you can see, coming out of it, I went 45, so I can just kind of hold on to it. I don't know if you can see it in here. You can see on the little mini screen where you can hold it. And I've got probably 4 to 5 feet of coax sticking out of the bottom of it to an SO239 on the cord, so on my coax. So that's what I'm going to hook up to the radio with. Now I've got a little jumper that goes from a 239 to a SMA to the radio, so we're all set there. So the next step on this build, now that I've kind of jumped ahead with some of this, is to mount your driven element here on your center T. Basically, you're going to each side here, one side on each, and you're going to end up wanting about an approximate inch gap in here. Let's see if I can find a way to position this to be able to get it on here and show on the film the same way. So what you do is you take one of your clamps, and I won't take this down yet. Till I get both on there. And get them positioned. I'm going to take a piece of the other tape measure. tentative. Yeah, approximately an inch gap between for your tuning purposes of the driven element. So I'll go ahead and tighten those down. Okay. Now, what I want to do is tin the hairpin, solder it down here, and then I'll bring the coax up and I'll solder this into these two spots that I've got tinned, and the major part of this will be done. So let me a little solder and my solder gun. Stick down a lot easier now that I had it pre-canned, but not the greatest at soldering. I'm still kind of figuring some of it out sometimes. But I tell you what, there's some of these guys out there make this look easy. So, there, the hairpin soldered. There. Alright, now that the driven element is done, the two sides, and all soldered, then it's time to put your director and reflector on. Now this is the 35 and an 8 length. Now what I did is you can see on here where I marked the center of it. I put it on the T where it's lined up down the middle of the PVC and clamped it in place. And then I did the same thing on this end for the 41 and an 3/8 length. Centered it up, put the clamps on it. Now I've got it tucked in here just so we can get it seen on here. But essentially that's what you, now that we've got those all on there, I just have to power up the attenuator and I've got a working Yagi tape measure beam. And let me flip this to, so there we go. You can see on here, you know, the reflector, my driven elements, and the blurriness and the fuzziness is because of my green screen. It's not liking the yellow. It's kind of tweaking it a little bit, but there we go. So now I've got my attenuator so I can hold and find my signal and adjust the knob either way, I believe is what it's set to do. So there we go. Tape measure Yagi beam. And what I'll do is I'll just fold these in each so they're tucked out of the way for better, easier storage and handling. So there we go. Fold it up a little easier to take. So there. So now we've got the fox hunt transmitter that I built the last video. Tape measure Yagi direction finding antenna built now. So I'm going to continue working with the club to get a fox hunt scheduled for everybody. I think here coming up within the next month or so, we're going to try to do like a group build of some of these antennas. Anybody in the club or anybody that comes to the function will be able to build an antenna. I think the club's planning on trying to purchase about 10 antennas worth of materials to build at least 10 of them. Whoever wants to try to build one, and we'll go from there. So as always, I appreciate everybody watching. Get on your radio, have some fun, get on the air.